Homunculus. Alchemy and Oddities, the World's Fair of 1603. The air was thick with a mix of excitement and the sharp tang of exotic herbs. Tents, stalls, and elaborate pavilions stretched out as far as the eye could see, each adorned with banners fluttering in the gentle morning breeze. The World's Fair of 1603, hosted in a sprawling meadow surrounded by dense woods, was not just any event. It was the grand convergence of alchemists, mystics, and curators of the arcane. Intricate glass vials filled with swirling liquids of every conceivable hue were displayed beside leather-bound grimoires, their pages inscribed with ancient symbols. Shelves were laden with jars containing pickled creatures, their origins spanning from the depths of the oceans to the far reaches of the skies. The murmured chants of incantations blended seamlessly with the clinking of coins and hushed negotiations. A particularly large tent, bathed in rich purples and golds, bore the sign, "Homunculi and Artificialities inside." Curious patrons were met with an astonishing sight. Rows of ornate cages contained living homunculus, each one unique. Some had skin that shimmered like the night sky, others bore eyes that seemed to hold the wisdom of the ages, and a few fluttered delicate wings casting mesmerizing shadows. Whispered debates filled the air as potential buyers assessed the value and capabilities of each creature. Adjacent to them, a section labeled Oddities showcased beings that defied explanation. Two-headed serpents, phoenix chicks emitting gentle warmth, and orbs that seemed to capture and reflect one's deepest dreams. At the heart of the fair, a grand stage was set where master alchemists showcased their latest discoveries. The crowd watched in awe as one alchemist turned lead into gold, while another summoned rain with a mere wave of his hand. Roaming the pathways were minstrels and performers, juggling vials that exploded into harmless, colorful smoke or playing flutes that made the very ground ripple and sway. The entire fair was an overwhelming symphony of sights, sounds, and scents, a celebration of the boundaries which could push when they tapped into the arcane and the ethereal. As the sun began its descent, casting the fairgrounds in a golden hue, it was evident that this was not merely a tradition. It was a testament to the age's spirit, a time when the mysterious was embraced, and the impossible was just another challenge waiting to be conquered. The vibrancy of the fair was palpable, with every corner echoing tales of wonder and marvel. Amidst the array of attractions, one figure stood out not for his size, but for the intensity of curiosity he attracted. The homunculus, a sentient being birthed from earth and magic. His presence was a testament to alchemy's crowning achievement. The hum of conversations and the clinking of coins was momentarily interrupted as the homunculus entered the main gallery. His stride, though confident, betrayed an undercurrent of bewilderment, akin to a traveler setting foot on unfamiliar land. Suddenly, a shadow loomed over him, towering at 7.5 feet. A stately figure extended his hand, its gesture both gracious and curious. As the homunculus, currently inhabited by Sean, a hermetic master from a distant future, reached out, the world seemed to tilt. Adjusting to the body of the homunculus felt like navigating through a thick fog after a night of revelry. The tall man, quick in his reflexes, steadied him. Sean, still grappling with his newfound form, blurted out, "How are you guys so tall? Or am I a kid? I feel like an adult." The giant's countenance was one of amusement. His powdered wig, which seemed more a necessity than fashion, hid a bald pate, a telltale sign of his consumption of radium radiation. His attire, a mix of elegance and functionality, whispered tales of a world where alchemy, science, and fashion converged. Sean, scratching his head, felt the texture of a black Venetian hat. A quick glance downward confirmed that he was dressed as elaborately as his giant interlocutor. Recognition dawned on Sean, and he saw the giant not just as a towering figure of the past, but as an ally, a familiar spirit from another dimension. This was no mere historical figure. He was a kindred spirit, someone he had crossed paths with in various realms and realities. With a chuckle, the giant said, "In this time, my friend, you might say I'm the shorter one, but in the years to come, and with the alchemy you'll explore, you'll understand our differences and similarities." Drawing Sean closer, he continued, "Here, shake my hand and hold firm. they're capturing this moment. Sean's puzzled look prompted an explanation. Not cameras, but an artist, one with a keen eye and swift hand. Trust me, his renditions are flawless. As they stood, hands clasped, the giant whispered one day, in a time and place far from here, you'll stumble upon this depiction, and in that moment, the tapestry of time will unravel, and this journey, this dance between dimensions, will all come flooding back. In the midst of the bustling fair, two figures stood frozen, bound by a connection that defied time, space, and understanding, a moment of recognition in the grand carnival of existence. As the edges of Sean's vision began to blur, he found himself drawn to a curious exhibit. Amongst gleaming vials and intricately crafted trinkets, a jar caught his eye. The creature within was a disconcerting fusion of man and anomaly. Its human head acting as the entire torso, limbs extending from where his should be. Sean's gaze met the creature's, searching for a flicker of consciousness, a sign of the spirit within. His voice slightly trembling, Sean inquired, "Is this real?" The vendor, an older 10-foot-tall gentleman with piercing blue eyes, regarded Sean thoughtfully. "As real as you," he said with a knowing smirk. "Alchemy doesn't always achieve perfection, but sometimes imperfection itself is the marvel." As the weight of the vendor's words sank in, Sean's surroundings became increasingly distorted. The colossal architecture, which had at first seemed grand, now felt overwhelmingly gigantic. Those immense doorways, easily accommodating the towering figures passing through them, made him realize the true scale of this world. His friend, at over 7 feet, was very short here in comparison. However, as he staggered under the weight of his realization, another question tugged at his mind. Where were the women? And why did all these giants seem cut from the same cloth? Pale skin, vibrant blue eyes, balding fiery red hair, and an air of grace and civility. The harmony in their interactions, the gentle nods, the quiet words of encouragement, it all seemed too idyllic. But before he could ponder further, a lightheadedness gripped him. The grandeur of the cathedral ceilings seemed to spiral upwards endlessly. The distant murmur of the crowd felt like whispers from another realm. He yearned to stay, to explore more of this enigmatic world, to understand the ties that bound him to it. Yet, even as he willed himself to remain, the pull of his baseline reality grew irresistible. With one last, lingering look at the magnificent fair, he felt himself being drawn away. A profound sense of loss welled up within him, a yearning for a world slipping through his fingers. As he transitioned between dimensions, a singular thought resonated. Had he just glimpsed humanity's forgotten past? Or had he ventured into a reality crafted by desires and dreams?